so we can keep it flowing and be respectful of everyone's time. But welcome, I am Laura with Virtuoso. I'm on the Wanderlist team. Riley's on the call with us today. She's also on the Wanderlist team and is going to help facilitate some of the questions in the chat and keep us all on time. So thanks, Riley, for joining us. And thanks, Allie, for putting this together. I know I got to present to some of your colleagues during the virtual event that you did last month, I think it was, and that was fun. So I'm glad to see more of your faces. Your network is amazing. You do a lot of great work, and so it's fun. It's fun to be part of this. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm very excited to show you how Wanderlist can help generate 25 future trips while we ride out this crazy COVID coaster that we've been on. And how might we do this? Through the power of anticipation. If I can get my slideshow to work, that's anticipation. There we go. We believe anticipating a trip can be a trip too. And as a travel professional, we all knew this in our gut, but there's definitely truth in the statement. There's been a recent survey that found 97% of people feel happier when they have a trip to look forward to. I know I do. I'm sure you do too. So we know it's true, but now we have some scientific data to back it up. You know, the anticipation of a trip offers this emotional high as big as the trip itself. And now with Wanderlist, you can bring this joy to your clients and create this crystal ball to know what they're dreaming about to help you with your future business. So what is Wanderlist? I'm sure many of you are coming with different levels of understanding about what Wanderlist is, but I want to take a really quick poll. Using your chat function feature, type in a Y for yes if you already have a free Wanderlist account set up for yourself. And type in a no if you haven't done that yet. And there's no shaming here. So feel free to be honest. Okay, great. Yes. Oh, good. 50% so far. A few more no's. Oh, yeah, we're running about 50%. A few more no's. Yeah. All right. So we're running about 50% right now for some of you. So this is really timely then for those of you, even if you have an account, I think the demo will be beneficial. It'll call out some features maybe that you weren't aware of, etc. But I do want to talk a little bit for those of you who haven't signed up yet. You know, what is Wanderlist? It's the best way to think about Wanderlist. It's a special place to collect really cool travel ideas, and not just collect them, but invite friends and family. And of course, you as your travel advisor are already on these clients' list to share and collaborate together. So it's a creative think tank that's fun, easy, and it's free. That's a big deal. It's web-based, so we call it an app, but it's a web-based app, which means it's accessible from any device. So you can use your phone, your computer, your iPad, your smart pad, doesn't matter what it is, it works on all of those devices. So it starts by creating that free account, and I'm going to do something a little unconventional. I probably am going to be the very first presenter to tell you to get your phones out while I'm presenting. So go ahead, grab your smartphone, get it in front of you. For those of you who don't have an account yet, I'm going to ask you to open your browser. So open Safari or Google or whatever it is that is your favorite that you use, and type in www.virtuoso.com/Wanderlist. I have it up on the screen there for you to see too. So I'm just going to pause for a minute and let you open that up. So for those of you who don't have an account yet, I'm going to pause so you can get that open and get ready. I'm going to run through a demo in the next 30 seconds here, and we'll start from the beginning. How do you set up an account? So in tandem with me, you can set up your own account. For those of you who already have an account, go ahead and sign in, because you might want to sample some of the features that I'm going to be sharing with you on the demo, which then might raise some questions for you if you're struggling with them at all. So I'm just going to give you another 10 seconds. Again, virtuoso.com/Wanderlist. All right, so while you're doing that, I'm going to pull up my screen. See if I can find it. Here it is, and start sharing. So this is what you should have landed on when you went to www.virtuoso.com/Wanderlist. This is the landing page. All clients, all advisors start at the very same place. Everyone needs an account, whether you're an advisor or a client, and it'll make sense once I get deeper into the demo why, as an advisor, you also need a free account. So if you already had an account, you're going to sign in. Up in this right-hand corner, it's a sign in button. But if not, that big red button in the middle, that Start Dreaming Now, that's what you click to get started and start your free account. While you're doing that, I'm just going to cover a couple things, because this landing page has gone through a few iterations from when we first put this out in May, based on what we were seeing on usability and bounce rates and people landing on the page and not setting up an account. We finally have arrived at a page that seems to work for everyone, because our rate when somebody lands on this page and they create an account is crazy high, higher than the industry standard. So that's really cool. So we give this little overview of what are you signing up for? You're going to discover the best of the best travels. You're going to add favorites to a travel wish list, and you're going to dream with your family, friends, and your travel advisor. Then for clients that are new to Wanderlist, or they've invited a friend and a friend's landing on this page, we wanted to give them a little sample platter of what they're going to discover once they're in Wanderlist. So you're going to see some of these really cool experiences that are not necessarily Googleable. They're high end, they're unique. Some of them are once in a lifetime type of experiences. So we've got the samurai sword fighting, or for instance, my favorite is this diving for diamonds. You click on that, and it gives you a quick snapshot of this experience. Where is it? It's in South Africa. And then a very high-end level of description of what can you expect on that experience. And then we've hit the button again, Start Dreaming Now. So we keep prompting them. They're going to click that button. And like you probably landed on this registration page. Very simple information: email, name, country, and then set up your password. I preloaded this for our demo because typing and talking is not my gift. So I've set up Jane Adventurer. We're going to go right to her account right now. So Jane Adventurer, when you first opened your account and you've landed on this page, a little survey is going to pop up the very first time you come in. So it's just asking you, what are you interested in? And you're just going to click the things that you want to experience, what categories are of interest to you, and then you're going to hit the next button. What the system uses that information for is to filter the experiences that it's going to show you when you're creating your list. So it's going to be experiences that match with your interests will float to the top. Makes sense. And we all know that with seasons of life, our interests change, right? So things change in our life, our interests change. So we're going to go up to my profile, which is this little circle with the silhouette of the person. If you click on that, I'm already in it. That takes you to your profile. So I want you all to do that. Whether you've just created an account or you already have an account, go into your profile by clicking that circle, and then you should be able to see where it says My Profile. It lists your interests. For demo purposes, I shared my fake advisor link that I've set up for demos. I'm not an advisor, but for the demo I am. I shared that with Jane. She clicked on that account to create her account. So now I'm automatically tied to her as a travel advisor. So a couple things I want to show you what you need to do in My Profile. My Profile is really an important place for you. For the traveler, the one thing they're going to come in and is just to edit their travel interest. So this little pencil next to where it says My Travel Interest, that's your edit button. If you click that, it allows you to go in there and add or subtract the interest however you want. And then if your client clicks your personal link, which I'm going to show you where you find that, they're going to automatically be tied to you. And so it's going to list you here as their travel advisor in their profile. And then every list that they create going forward is automatically going to have you on it. I'll show you that later, so you don't need to know what does that look like quite yet. It'll make sense in a minute. But this next step is really important for all of you, where it says I'm a traveler. Now for Jane, who is actually a traveler, it doesn't matter. She's not going to do anything with this. But for you, the advisor, you need to go in here and edit this. So that little pencil again next to I am a, click that, change traveler to travel professional. And then in the drop down, click Virtuoso Travel Advisor. I'm going to give you a second because this is really important. What that just did is it unlocks your personal invitation link. So this link down here in red, that's your link. It's specific to you. It attaches all of your clients to you when they use that link to create their account. So this link is not agency-wide. It's not meant to be shared between advisors. It's meant to be yours and yours alone. Again, because it ties your client to you, and every list they create, you're going to be added to. So how you can copy this, a couple ways. There's this little red copy button in the corner. That's fine. If you hit that, it's going to copy all of this content. So where it says your personal invite link just for you, let's dream together. It's copying all of that, including your link, and you can just paste that in an email to make it easy for you to do an email to your clients. And then you can add whatever other text you want in there. More likely, you're going to just come in here and copy this red link. So I'm highlighting it. I'm going to hit Control-C on my computer. Copy it, and then you can paste it in an email, or you can paste it into your website. You can paste that link on social media. You can paste that link into a mass email generation software system if you use that. So this link is yours to use however you want. And it's always here. So every time you come into your account and you come into your profile, there it is. It's always open, ready for you to go. Copy, paste it whenever you need. I'd recommend copying this link, paste it in a note that's, you know, a little sticky note that is on your computer software system. It's standard. Just paste it in there so you always have access to it. So you don't have to come in here every time. But just know that's always in here. Now, for purposes of our demo, I'm going to change this back to Jane's a traveler. She's not a travel advisor.
Hey, Laura. Sorry to interrupt you. People want to pause for a second as they get things set up.
Perfect.
So if anyone has any questions for Laura at this point, let us know.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself or you can type in chat, either way. And I don't know where my chat went.
I can't get to this Wanderlist at all.
Okay.
Yeah, this is recorded too, because you're going really fast and we're
Yes.
trying.
Yes.
I
Okay.
think that'll be better when we get all set up and then play the recording. But so far I'm in. I couldn't get into the country, but I realized you have to scroll down. It's at the bottom of the screens.
Oh, and the registration page.
Yeah, the country. I thought we were supposed to type it in, but then you just scroll down at the bottom.
You can scroll down, or you can click on it, and I can type a U and keep typing U until I get to United States.
Yeah, when I clicked on it, it didn't work.
You see how mine is highlighted right now? Can you see my screen? The United States is highlighted.
I did that. That's what I did. I scrolled down. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could also just type the U until the United States is highlighted, and then hit enter.
Yeah, no, that wasn't working for me.
Okay, so if you had to click it, that's fine. It might just be, are you on an iPad? I mean, every system has a different, device has a different.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I can't get onto it all, so I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to hang on. If you want, at the end, I can help you do that. Like you and I can stay on at the end when everyone gets off, and Riley and I can make sure we get you set up.
All right. I'll just watch what you're doing. Okay.
Thanks, Laura.
Are we good? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I have a quick question. How do we go back to where you are now? Because it took me a while to get set up also.
This little circle right here with the silhouette of a person in it.
Okay.
Click on that. That's your account profile. That'll take you to your profile.
Okay. Then
So
I
now
want
you
to
should see
travel advisor.
Yep. And then I'm a Virtuoso advisor. Good.
Okay.
That's
Thanks.
working. Joanne's nodding her head no. Shaking her head no.
No, I just have, mine just says I'm a traveler. It doesn't have anything else. I must have,
Okay, so where it says I'm a traveler, there's a little pencil there. Click that pencil.
Oh, I see. I got it.
Yep,
Thanks.
that's your edit button. Yep.
It's hard to eat and chew, or walk and chew gum at the same time.
I totally understand.
I'm trying to do so much. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and this is the first time I'm doing this where I'm helping people set it up live on a demo. We just figured that, this might be helpful. So you're our test group. So I apologize if I went a little fast. All right, a couple other things I'm going to teach you. If you're a little technically with like me, I'm not a young teenager anymore. So technology, sometimes I pull my hair out. I love it, but sometimes I pull my hair out. So all these terms that get thrown out there, I'm going to teach you some because I've learned them. On the top left of your screen, you see these 3 dashes. Are you seeing these 3 dashes? That's called the hamburger menu, which I think is hilarious. But that's how you get back to your main menu. So if you click that, Now I have the option of going to my Wanderlist, experiences, sign out, or support. Are you seeing that? Okay, if I click on support, it's going to bring up some frequently asked questions. So if somebody's having an issue, they could check this list real quick to see if it's a common issue that they can overcome just by reading these. If not, it tells you to go ahead and email help@virtuoso.com, and they will get you to the right person who can help you, whether it's a technical issue or you know, it's just I need a help with, I didn't understand how to use the software issue. So they'll get you to the right person. So I'm going to click this hamburger menu again up at the top, the 3 dashes, and it's going to take me back to the main menu. And I'm going to go to experiences for now, because I want to show you, once you're in here and as a client, and you are a client too, we hope that you would use this for your own personal uses to create lists of trips you want to do with your friends and family. It's a great way to understand and learn the system. So that's going to be your step 2 after creating your account, is create some lists. And you can do that a couple ways. You can either start in the experiences section, and the experiences section has, again, over 2,500 unique experiences that some people had no idea existed. So it's meant to be inspirational. It's not meant to be an itinerary builder. Can't emphasize that enough. This is not to replace any itinerary building software. This is really meant to be part of the dream stage of planning a trip. So it's getting ideas and being inspired. So we can go ahead and look through some of these, and if something catches my eye, you know, I just click on it again. It'll give me a snapshot. It's in Brazil, tells me what it is. Now, if this is something, as I'm just looking through experiences, because I just want to see what's out there, and then I land upon something that I'm like, oh, if I ever go to Brazil, I want to do this. I want to make sure my travel advisor and I don't forget about it. I'm going to hit this heart up on the top, click on that heart. And because I hadn't started a list yet, it wants to save it to a list. It's going to prompt me to start a new list. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yep, start a new list. And the first thing you do when you start a list is you always name it. So that was, I'm going to say beaches tour in South America. That's the name of my list. The second step of creating that list is I need to give a destination. I need to attach a destination to this list. And since I was already in an experience that I liked that was in Brazil, the system's like, well, this list must have to do with Brazil. Yes, it does. So I'm going to say, yeah, oh, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and hit select because it already pulled up Brazil for me. So now we're in our list. We've created a list. It's that easy. It's called Beaches Tour in South America, and we've got Brazil attached to it. I'm going to pause for a second because I want to point out a couple of things that if we don't talk about them now, you're going to stumble on it and wonder what's going on. The software as it stands today only allows you to attach one destination per list. So right now I can only have Brazil in here. I said it's a tour of South America, so obviously I'm going to be going to more than one country in South America. That's my intent. In a future enhancement, we're going to allow for multiple destinations. Right now, the system only allows for one. So the workaround is I would just have Beaches Tour South America Part 1, which would be in Brazil. My second list would be Beaches Tour in South America and name the country, whatever it is. But let's just go forward with this list that we've started. So now you can see I've got all these experiences. There's cruises in here. There's hotels in here that I can look through. Again, meant to be inspirational, not to be, not to be an itinerary builder, but I can just go in here, click on some things. I want to see, oh, that looks amazing. I don't want to forget about this. So I'm going to click this heart. And again, it's now going to add it to my favorites library in my list. So this favorites library is shared by anyone that has been invited to the list. So me, the advisor, I'm already on your list, Jane's list. As she invites her friends and family to the list, everybody sees the same favorites library. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on another account with multiple people on it. So you can see how when different people like things, what it shows what they have in common. But I wanted to pause for a second and show you some really cool things. I'm going to start a new list. So I'm going to go to the hamburger menu. I'm going to go to my Wanderlist now. So now you can see there's our Brazil list exists, but I want to start a new one. So I'm going to click start a new list. And Jane had been thinking about a multi-gen family vacation before COVID hit. So she's going to name this trip multi-gen family vacation. Now she's going to pick, where is that? Where's this trip going to happen when it happens? Now this map is interactive, and on the phone you use your finger to kind of pull around, and you can pinch and zoom. It takes a little practice if you're not used to doing this, but you can move the map around with your finger. You can use 2 fingers to pinch and zoom in and zoom out. It's cool. Don't worry if it's not working for you right now. Take some time after, but you can just type in and search for the country. So I'm going to type in Iceland. There it is. It's going to pull it up for me. That's where I want to go. Yes, I'll hit select. So now again, my list has a name and a destination, so it's ready to go. So then the question becomes, Jane, this is a multi-gen family vacation. She wants to include her husband, her adult children, her grandchildren. So how does she invite them to this list? Well, right under the name and the destination is the shared with section. So we can see Jane is on the list. The advisor was me, was automatically added. I'm going to click this plus button. And when you click the plus button, I can see who's already on the list, and then I can invite others by clicking the plus button. So I'm going to type in her husband Joe. Jane's inviting Joe to her list. She's going to invite her grandson Cody Traveler to her list. So what's happening now is the system is sending an email to these people, and Joe's going to get an email in his inbox that says, it's from Virtuoso Wanderlist, and it says Jane Adventurer has been working on multi-gen family vacation and would love for you to share your ideas too. And if there's a red accept button in that email, he clicks it and it immediately takes him to the landing page. Let's get out of that. To the landing page where he signs up for an account. And as soon as he does that and he's in, it's going to pop him right into Jane's list so that he can see right away and he can start sharing his ideas. So right now it's showing her grandson Cody's pending and Joe's pending. As soon as they accept and create their account, it'll look like us. It'll have an initial in there and it'll have his name. So then we know he's accepted. Okay, so a couple things I want to show you, because we do have a lot, 2,500 experiences to cruise. We've got 1,400 best of the best hotels in here, cruise lines. But we also understand when you're dreaming about a trip, this list isn't exhaustive, especially if you, the advisor, are collaborating with them. There might be a restaurant you want to recommend to them. There might be an article or a YouTube video that relates to something about this trip that you want to share with them. So how do you do that? Or maybe it's a non-Virtuoso property. That's okay. We understand that that happens. So how do you add those ideas into here? Well, first, let me show you again. Jane's just going to go ahead and add, she was perusing. She likes this. That looks good. She loves this spa time. She's going to save that as an idea. And then you, as the advisor, myself, Laura, I come in and I see Jane's created this trip, and it's to Iceland, and it's a multi-gen family. I see she's added a couple of ideas. That's cool. But I know their family pretty well, and I know they're into sustainability. So I've been watching this documentary called Down to Earth with Zac Efron. Great documentary. If you haven't watched it, totally recommend it. Covers sustainability topics all around the world. And the very first one I know is on Iceland. So I'm going to go up and copy the web page, which I'm on, the Netflix web page. I'm going to copy that, go back to Virtuoso Wanderlist. And our faces might be in the way, because up in the right-hand corner of your screen is this add your own button. Except for you're on your phone, you should be able to see it. Add your own button. If I click that, it then asks me to go ahead and paste in that Netflix URL that I just copied. So that web page address, I just copied it in there and I hit submit. Now what's happening is Wanderlist is communicating with Netflix, and Netflix has some pre-existing content and pictures that it's going to allow Wanderlist to throw in here. So it has a title, it has a description, it has a picture. All I need to do is tag it, and I'm going to tag it wellness. And as I'm looking through this, I can see the description. I don't like the description. It's too generic. I don't think the family's going to understand why I'm saying they should watch this. So I might type in cool documentary on sustainability. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, the first seasons on Iceland's renewable energy efforts, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm going to click Save and Add. And now that is added to the favorites library. So next time Jane comes in here, or Joe, or their grandson Cody, they're all going to see all of these ideas, and they can click on this down to earth, read my little description that might say, oh, I want to see this. They click on view the website, and it takes them there where they can then decide, do they want to read it or not. So you could do this with an article, you know, maybe it's a historical article if you're going to somewhere where it's a history-based trip. So anyway, the great way for you to be able to pull things in. Let's say there's a restaurant or a property that your on-site is suggesting. They can give you that URL list website, and you can paste that in there. But let's say it's a restaurant and they don't have a web presence. So let's say Jane was talking to her neighbor who had just been in Iceland, and it's like, there's this cool new restaurant. You absolutely have to try it when you're there. They're not on the website. It's word of mouth. Here's the address. Here's what you should do. You can still add that idea so you don't forget, because Jane, the whole idea behind this is to gather ideas so that when it's time to plan this trip and they sit down with you, the advisor, we don't forget anything. You know, so many times I've heard advisors talk about clients that call and they have the same conversation 10 times because they've got things posted to their bulletin board, something in a drawer, something, you know, in a magazine, and oh, I forgot to tell you this idea. So this helps to gather all that data together along with all the family members' ideas. So in order to do something that doesn't have a web presence, you can click that add your own button in the right-hand corner again, that red button. And where it says in red, I don't have a URL. That means I don't have a web address. I can click on that and I can create my own. I'm just going to call this a pop-up restaurant and type in, Jane's going to type in here where it was located, what the chef's name was, what menu items her neighbor recommended, choose a generic photo. I'm going to tag it food and wine. That makes sense. And then I'm going to save and add that to the favorites library so that none of us forget about that restaurant when it comes time to plan this trip. So these are some ways that Jane can create this list, share it with her friends and family. Her and the advisor and her friends and family can add whatever they want to this ideas list. I'm going to pause because I want to show you my account now. So Jane shared this list. I'm going to show you where I find that as the advisor in my account and what that looks like. So I'm going to go over to my account. Here we go. There we go. All right. So you should now be seeing my Wanderlist. So this, I'm now logged in as Laura, the advisor. These on the top where it says my Wanderlist, these are all my personal lists. So these are lists that I created that I shared with my friends and family. So these are lists I want to take, trips I want to take. And so you can see I've shared them, you know, I've shared a couple trips with my husband and some with some friends. So we're sharing ideas on these trips that are just, you know, I can't wait till travel to open up because I got a lot of places I want to go. But then if I scroll down below my personal trips is a section called shared with me. So, and it's exactly what it sounds like, the lists that have been shared with me. So when you send that personal link that was in red that you highlighted and you email that to a client, they click on that link and they create an account, they create a list, you're automatically added to that list, and that list populates down here in the shared with me. So if we go down, there's that Iceland family vacation that Jane created. So this is where you would find those client lists. Also, if you know your personal list, if you have your husband creates a trip idea and he adds you to it, that would also be on this section. So that's how you would manage and find those trips. I want to show you what it looks like when you have multiple users. So let's go to this Costa Rica Girls Getaway. So Riley, who's on the call, we were playing with it, and then Betsy, who's on our team. So Betsy, who signed up as Sue Test, created this trip called Girls Getaway, and it's in Costa Rica, and she invited Riley and I to this trip. So you can see we've been in here busy adding ideas of what we'd want to do when we're on this trip, or what are some cool things that we're thinking about. So we can see that I added a custom cooking class. Sue added a custom place to stay. Riley liked one of the hotels that was in the property because, you know, custom says custom, hotel means it was in this Virtuoso properties down below. Sue added a custom cooking class, and then Riley and Sue both liked the same experience, Authentic San Jose. And so did Sue and I liked another experience together. So we start to see what these groups, whether it's a multi-gen group or a family or a girlfriend trip, we start to see things that people like in common, which will be important because that's probably something we will be adding to that itinerary. But what I really love about this system is we're now able to start to see what our clients are thinking about that maybe wouldn't be brought up in a conversation. So a good example is, let's look at Sue added this Costa Rica cooking class. It's custom. If I click on that, I can learn she wants to make local food. She wants to do something to make the local food. I want context. So I'm going to go to that website that she copied to see where she's getting this idea. And I can see she's been out to Airbnb experiences, which I'm sure we've all come across this, or maybe not because our clients are too embarrassed to tell us that they've been looking at Airbnb experiences. They don't want to offend us or whatever it is. But I, as the advisor, want to know. I want to know she's interested in cooking classes. I don't want her to go book something off of Airbnb because I don't think it's going to be a fantastic experience for her because it's not vetted necessarily. So what's great about this, now that I know she's thinking about a cooking class, I could create either find one that's in the portfolio and add it to the ideas. More likely, I'm going to reach out to my on-site that's in Costa Rica because he's definitely got a cooking class that he could create for us or already exists that I can add as an alternative idea. So that when Sue, Riley, Laura come in next time and they see, oh, there's another cooking class, they could look at that, see what it's all about, and it at least creates a discussion, right? About, oh, I didn't know you, the advisors, could, create this little cooking class for me. Of course I want to do that. It's more intimate. It's going to be a better experience. It's a vetted person. So what's lovely about this is we get to see what people are thinking about. And when it comes to a certain destination, what their interests might be that might not come up in normal conversation or when they call me on the phone to talk about Costa Rica. Unless I know to ask directly, are you thinking about a cooking class? I might not know that. But now all the cards are on the table, which is really, really great. So I'm going to pause for a second here and tell you a couple of things. I'm going to go back to the Wanderlist because I want you to understand a few things as you're starting to strategize. How would you use this for your business? A few things to note. Right now, we do not have the ability to sort or manage or organize these lists. So the more lists you get, the more difficult it is to manage. So if I just wanted to pull out Sue Test's trips, it's going to be kind of difficult. I can see her initials and I can pull up her name. In a future enhancement, we will have an advisor dashboard that will allow you to sort, search, all of those things. So it's coming, but just keep that in mind. The other thing is we have advisors that have been really successful with creating a list in their own account and then sharing that list with a client. I'll give you a couple examples. I had Sandra Ortiz back in July. I called her and she said she had a client who prior to COVID was wanting to go out west. He's a pilot. He was wanting to go out west. COVID hit. It's July. She hasn't heard from him in 2 months and it feels awkward to reach out to him. So she wasn't sure what to do. So we came up with the idea of let's create a list of a destination out west that you think he would like and share it with him. Just as a, hey, I know as we're grounded, it's kind of fun to dream about travel. Here's a fun free tool you can use to keep dreaming. So when you're ready to go out west, here's some ideas. So she did it, she shared it with him. And a week later, he reached out, said he absolutely had so much fun with creating ideas and was ready to book the trip with her. So they booked the trip. And not only that, he invited a couple friend to go with him and his wife. So it was a double booking for her. And not only that, they were like, oh, we also think we want to add on Santa Fe and South Dakota. So it became a multiple destination booking for her. So it was really a cool experience. And she was very targeted in who she was sending that list she created to, because she knew he was a pilot. He would be comfortable traveling. It was open spaces. So it was really smart. And it started that, it refueled the conversation for her with this client in a comfortable way, non-threatening way. And it ended up in a booking. And I just got off the phone with her yesterday and she did this again with another client to Hawaii. and got the booking. So you can use Wanderlist in a lot of different ways. You can have your client just create an account, start their own list, or you could be very targeted in creating a list for a specific client that you think they've been thinking about, and it's just a way to keep the conversation going. Not that they're ready to book today, but when they are ready, you already are a step ahead. So that's a couple of the ways that clients have been using it. But be careful with that, because until the advisor dashboard's out, you don't want to have 50, 60 trips out there that are just wandering aimlessly and you're trying to figure out how to sort through. I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint for a second because there's a few things I want to point out to you. Plus, I promised you I would show you how you could create 25 future trips. So let's go back, pause for a second, take a break. You can put your phone down, let your brain relax from all that hard work you've been doing. You have to listen and type, that's hard. Okay, so why would you participate in Wanderlist? Along with creating lists to make it easier for advisors to plan future travel, Wanderlist offers the first aspirational database in the travel industry. So we are already gleaning some insights based on our network of travelers. Where do they want to go next? And that puts you in a better position to service their needs. And so you can see right now, based on real-time data, where have people been dreaming, where the most lists have been created internationally. They've changed a little bit, but not really. They might just swap out positions here and there, but generally speaking, these have stayed pretty true in the last several months of where people are dreaming about going. And I'm just going to back up for a second because I think there we go. While Wanderlist is fun, it generates real business too. So as a network, we've already generated over 6,000 future trips because each list represents a future trip, and that's really exciting. So this leads me to that original statement of how you can generate 25 plus future trips with Wanderlist. So this is going to get our brains starting to think about business strategy in a COVID world. How do I jumpstart my business? How can I, move forward? If you use Wanderlist, it begins with some simple math. So let's say you invite 250 people, clients, you've got prospect lists. You could do an email campaign followed by phone calls, or do what Sandra did. So it's probably a combination of things you're doing to invite that 250 people. And at a 10% acceptance rate, we know the average person creates 2 lists because we see the analytics from the system, and a list equals a trip. So that gets you to 25 trips. We're seeing some advisors that are having greater success in hitting 50 plus trips. Not that those are ready to book today, but once travel opens up, they're already a step ahead to get those trips moving. So from a financial perspective, let's look at it a different way. If each of those trips sold at an average price of, say, $10,000, that would equate to $250,000. So we can see the power that is there if we use it appropriately. What are your next steps? What's the practical? So you've already created an account, or you're in the process of creating an account. We're going to help you finish that at the end. Let's do a quick poll here because I am curious to know how many of you now have an account. Type yes if you do, or no if you don't, because you still need some help at the end, because I really would like to see. And my chat went off. All right, I'm gonna let Riley. Riley, how are we doing? Are we higher than 50% now?
Still waiting on a few, but most of them are yes at the moment.
Awesome. All right, and go ahead and type in there if you would like Riley and I to stick around at the end. We'll help you get it set up for you. But before we go into Q&A, how are we doing for time, Riley?
20 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to share a few tips from advisors. I already shared Sandra's story from you. I've been chatting with a lot of advisors in the last couple months just to check in on people, see how they're using Wanderlist, how are they having success, what have they been learning. And so some of the top 5 tips that we've been hearing as a team from these advisors is create a campaign. So, hitting them, put it on your website, send out a newsletter. People that send out quarterly newsletters or monthly newsletters have been including Wanderlist as a feature along with their advisor link on that. send out personal emails, followed up by a call. So we know when you do a campaign like that, you have to have at least 5 hits, so do the newsletter, followed up by a personal email. Of course, we don't want to bug them, but since this is something that's free and it's a cool tool, the response has been really well received. I've had 2 advisors already tell me in the last month, they sent it out to a large number in their newsletter, a large number of people in a targeted email. And the acceptance rates on that have been between 14 and 18% between the 2 of them, which is pretty crazy because the industry average when you do that type of campaign is like 2.5 or 2.25%. So to me, that says people are really ready for something like this. So you shouldn't feel like you're bugging them. You're offering them this really neat way to dream about travel. Again, you can add it to your website. People are adding it to their email signatures. And then you can also create a list in Wanderlist like Sandra did, and create that trip first. You can share inspirational content on social media. We had an advisor that Matthew just highlighted. It's funny, she was on our call 2 weeks ago and told us about this. She started an email or a Facebook and Instagram campaign, and it was simply, where do you plan to travel next? That's all she put in there, and she had 45 people respond with where they're planning to travel next. So then she private messaged each one of them about Wanderlist and gave them her private little advisor link and had a lot of success with that. So there's a lot of ways to get this on social media. And then we have several advisors that are hosting virtual events. So they're having Wanderlist events. They're calling them travel nights or come dream with us virtual nights, where they highlight and take you through a safari or something, and then they talk about Wanderlist at the end and give it away as a complimentary gift for being part of their event. So a lot of really creative ideas and ways that advisors are finding some success through this. Some resources, which I think are going to be really helpful. I would take a picture of the screen. Might not be a bad idea. Places that you can get help or find resources to support you for Wanderlist. Out on virtuoso.com, we have a Wanderlist information page. Easiest way to get there is when you're out on virtuoso.com, in the search bar, just type in Wanderlist and it'll pull up 5 or 6 like articles or whatever. And it's like the 3rd or 4th one down is Wanderlist tips and information pages. Lots and lots of really good info out there. There's an email template. There's FAQs out there. There's a supplier spreadsheet. So those 2,500 experiences that are in the portfolio, we don't possibly expect you to possibly know every single supplier or have relationships, if that's impossible. So we have a list out on information page. It's a spreadsheet. It's a supplier spreadsheet. You click on it, and you can search the experience by name and it'll tell you who the supplier of that experience is. So that's a really helpful resource for you. And then if you're not using My Marketing or not familiar with it, I would suggest you do, because there's some really great complementary things, not just for Wanderlist, just for your business in general. So in virtuoso.com, there's a toolkit called My Marketing. And there is a section specific to Wanderlist, but just in general, there are all kinds of really amazing photography you can be using for your social media posts. But there is a specific Wanderlist section under My Marketing, and it has a 1-page sheet. So you don't have to come up with, how do I describe this to clients? It's already there for you to use. It has a couple of pre-formatted pictures with some like what's on your Wanderlist that you could post to Instagram, so you don't have to create your own posts with beautiful photography. There's a video out there that you can use and embed in your email. So there's a few pieces of resources out there available. And again, you can also always reach out to help@virtuoso.com for any questions you have or if you're having issues. So I'm going to pause here because I feel like we should cover some questions and answer those for you. So Riley, do we have any Q&A questions going on right now in the chat?
We don't have any immediate questions, just people needing help creating an account. But if anyone has any questions aside from that, please unmute or type in the chat.
Yeah, we're a small enough group. You can just unmute yourself and ask right ahead. And then I will tell you, you know, if you are inspired and you decide to send out some emails and you have a really successful experience with a client, let us know. You know, send stories to me at alfixon@virtuoso.com. We'd love to highlight that. Matthew loves hearing about Wanderlist success stories. He loves sharing it with the network. But we're also always looking for testimonies, occasionally, like the New York Times. We've been featured in a few of those. We'd love to have quotes, and it would be great for you to be highlighted in one of those articles with a Wanderlist success story. So let me know about those. And if you're willing to share your story with others, that'd be great.
We have a couple questions.
Okay.
Not sure if I understood. Will clients see my personal lists?
Oh, okay, that's a great question. No, the only list that anyone can see is one they've been added to. So your personal list, if you haven't invited anyone to your list, no one can see it. If you invite your husband, he can see it, but your children can't. If you invite your children, but not your husband, your children can see it, but your husband can't. So only lists that you've been invited to, that's when they can see it. Now you as the advisor, since they use your link, you can see all of your clients' lists. So you're automatically added.
Perfect. And then will you show how to view the details of the experiences/activities again?
Yeah, sure. Let me go and share. I'll go into my own here. Okay, so correct me, whoever asked that, if you can unmute yourself, because I want to make sure I'm doing what you're asking. So the details as far as like if I click on an experience.
Yeah, like the contents, and I thought you show a link to something as well. Is it different?
A link?
Yeah, I think that when you're looking at like a TV show or something like that.
Okay, so yes, so you can. Let me go into a list. Let's go back into this test one here. You can go into any list, and that red button, which is the add your own. If I click that, that's where I can add. So I gotta move our faces, our covering. Let's just go grab something. I'm just gonna go out, I'm gonna search for Normandy invasion, because I just happened to think of that because I have a friend, an advisor, who's putting together a Normandy cruise all on D-Day. So let's just say he wants to add to his group this article that he found on the history of Normandy. So you go to the article, and now you can see I'm on that website for that article. I just highlight that link right here, copy it, go back to my Wanderlist. So I'm in my Girls Getaway, which doesn't make sense, but let's pretend I'm in the Normandy list. And I just paste that link right here, hit submit. And now I just need to tag this history. There we go. And save it. And now it's added to the library with, there it is, with all the other ideas. So you can do that with, you know, a YouTube video, an article, a documentary, a property that's not a Virtuoso property. If you've got you know, a website and you want to add that in here as an idea, you're absolutely welcome to do that. So the sky's the limit on what you could add in here for ideas. I do have just, unless there's another question, this particular gentleman with this Normandy, it's another idea that I think it's pretty smart. I've had a couple advisors recently talk about they're going to do this, where in their own Wanderlist, so their own personal Wanderlist, they're going to create a trip, and he's creating this Normandy, I forget what he called it, but it's a cruise, and you hit all the main cities that were part of Normandy invasion and part of that history, and they're going to talk, you know, see different museums, they're going to be on Normandy Beach, they're going to go, anyway, it's this cool trip all around the history of Normandy. And he has a lot of friends who are vets, and so he's creating this trip. And then he's going to share it with those particular, he's got about 15 people that he thinks would love going on this trip with him. So it's a group trip that he's starting. So he created the list, and then he's inviting people, remember, by going to this plus button. Ooh, sorry, this plus button, if I were in the Normandy list, then he's going to go in and type, you know, emails of his friends or whatever and send the invitation. So he's hitting a targeted, number of people with that list. and then that just spurs, his thinking is that'll spur their interest because they're going to see he's got the cruise. It doesn't have all the itinerary in there, but he was able to, because he tied France to it, he was actually able to find some things within the portfolio of places they're going to go, some of the museums or whatever. So he added that. But then he had just added some really cool history articles and YouTube video. It was really cool. I thought it was very, very creative. So I'm going to be curious to see how that goes for him. I had another woman who's a wellness instructor as well as an advisor who's creating these wellness trips. You know, Utah, she's doing some special yoga trip in Utah around something, some spas and some whatever. And she's doing the same thing. I love the idea, and it is something that as a with development for the software that had already been talked about doing. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but in the future, to be able to make these public lists and then share them out with people. It's not there now, but that's definitely a workaround. But just know that you have to share with a very targeted audience. You don't want to share that out with necessarily 100 people, because that could really, who knows what's going to happen. I would start with a very small targeted list of emails you share it with and see how it goes. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, one more question. Do you get a notification when one of your clients posts a list?
Yeah, really good question. That is a feature that we just added last week. It went live. So we do now have a notification system built in. So anyone that's on this list, so Sue, who created the list, Riley, and myself, anytime somebody now goes in here and makes a change. So Sue, sorry, Riley, you're going to get an email today. Sue and Riley are both going to get an email that I added this custom. It's going to say Laura Fixon added a custom idea to your girls getaway list. And the notification system works this way. You get one email a day if there have been any activity in any of the lists that you're part of. So you don't get an email every single time something happens. That would be overwhelming. But you get one email a day that highlights all the things that have gone on activity-wise. So, Sue added a friend to the girls getaway. Sue deleted a friend or removed a friend from the girls getaway. Sue removed an idea. So you can remove ideas. So I'm in here, only the author can remove it. But if I click the heart again on this Normandy invasion that I added, I can remove it if I changed my mind. And now it's no longer part of the favorites. But everyone on the list is going to get a notification that Laura removed an experience. So the clients get those notifications, so do the advisor. What hasn't happened yet, and it's going to change, is the advisor getting a notification when a client has created an account, but they haven't created any lists yet. That notification doesn't exist, but it's going to be added. So right now, a list has to be created before the notification gets alerted and sent out. We're going to change that because we feel like it would make sense. If you're sharing your link, you want to know if you've had activity, even if they haven't created a list yet. Like, I would want to know how many people clicked on my link on my website and created accounts. And then I would want to be able to go follow up with them in a week or two, because like you, they might be struggling with, how do I put the United States in, something simple that you don't want them to get stuck on. So that's coming down the road. Any other questions? Because otherwise I think we could help assist people finish up setting up their accounts. We'll let those who are ready to go. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for jumping on the call. We love sharing Wanderlist with you. For those of you who want to stay on, Riley and I will stick around and we'll help you with whatever technical issues you might be having with setting this up right now.
Thank you, everybody, for joining this morning. And if you don't have any specific things that you'd like to see on for, you can drop off. Otherwise, Laura and Riley will help you one-on-one here, which is great. Thank you for doing that, you guys.
You're welcome. And we'll share the recording, the link to the recording with you, Allie, and you can send that out if you'd like.
That'd be great.
I think, Riley, do we have a list of the emails and we could just send that directly to everyone?
Yeah, I can check after the call. Otherwise, we can forward it to Allie.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. We have a private YouTube page, so I'll just add it onto that and then send it out to everybody, because there were some that weren't able to join. So that'll be something I'll send out. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, great. All right, so Sis, I know you were having some struggles. Let's start with you.
Well, I did get in, so I'm in on my iPhone.
Okay.
So I would just wanted to stay in and hear what other problems people have, because I have never done this before, and unknown territory to me.
Yeah, we can learn from each other. That's
Yeah.
how I learn. I learn best that way too. So anyone else? Shirley, you're unmuted. You got something?
Yeah, where do you get the stay button where it says be sure to mark stay signed in on your phone? Otherwise you have to keep signing in. I don't see any place where that is.
When you, let me stop. Let me go to my other one because I had that tab open. So let's go there. When you go to sign in, right here. Oops, I'm signing up. Let me see. When you go to sign, I'll just sign out and show you. So when you go to sign in, all right, you go to sign in. All right, let me move faces. Right here, this little checkbox. So I'm going to type my email in. I'm going to type my oh, I better not. I'm already signed in. I better type somebody else in here. I'm going to type Jane back in, type in her password. And then I'm going to click this keep me signed in.
Okay, but
sign in.
we can't go back to that place without starting over. Is that correct?
Yeah, you need to sign out and then sign back in. So how you do that? Do I have any that I'm signed into? No. Let me go back to my other account because I'm still signed in. I think it's this one. Yeah. So how you do that is, again, you go to that hamburger menu, the 3 dashes.
Oh, okay.
And then hit sign out.
Okay.
And then you just go back to virtuoso.com/wanderlist, click sign in.
Okay.
So Laura, can you hear me? This is Rosie.
I can, Rosie, yes.
Yeah, I think I've done something to my picture. Anyway, I am trying to do it on my phone and I've tried to do it on the computer. And I think the problem is that it's not letting me agree to the terms. So I've tried it several times and I hit create and then it just freezes. But I don't think it's somehow or other, it's the terms and conditions that it's not going through. So I'm pressing on them, on the phone and then going, scrolling down, but there's nowhere to kind of move on to the next area. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
All right, let's just step through. I'll walk through setting up a fake account, another demo account with all of you just to see. Let me make sure.
I've got everything in, it just won't let me.
Okay, so I just want to go, I'm going to go to the registration page so we can walk through it together.
Okay.
Oops, not sign in, sorry. Boop. Let's try that again. Let's create a new account. Here we go. So I'm going to create a new account. So you typed in your email. I'm going to type in ZZ Venture Pollinator. All right, so you got your name in there, Zeppelin. Whoa, hold on, sorry. I gotta move some stuff out of my fingers are hitting my screen. Too tight of a workspace. Okay, let me go back. Share screen. Okay, back to the registration page. All right, Zeppelin. And our country is the United States. And then password. So you just created a password, type in the same one again. So there's nothing to click because when you create an account, it says you're already agreeing to those things.
Well, that's what I thought initially, but okay.
And then you hit create.
Yeah, and I've done that so many times and it just freezes. It will not go any further.
And you've not created an account before, right?
Well, I couldn't remember. So then I tried to sign in again as if I had created an account and I tried to create a new password, but it was when you were starting the whole program and it kept sending me a code, but it kept sending me the same code. And I had to stop doing it because I couldn't hear, I was missing everything you were saying.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Why don't we do this? If there's any other questions, Rosie, you stay on the line and Riley and I will work through this with you because it sounds like something technical. Does anybody else have a question?
Oh,
Yeah, I have, this is Gigi Becker. I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to share. I've got an account and I created a test wander list And so I see my shared with, and so I hit on the plus sign, and it says invite a client. I typed in my email, a different email, and then I hit done, but I haven't received anything. So I think I'm missing a step.
No, Gigi, you stumbled upon a fix that's going to be happening. Riley and I discovered this yesterday, actually. So we just reported this. So let me share. I'll show everybody what you're talking about. Go back to my Wanderlist, and I'll show you. I mean, let's just go back into Girls Getaway here. All right, so she's talking about when we go to add somebody, we click this plus button. There's an invite a client. This is a drop-down menu. So as you're building clients and clients are creating accounts, instead of you having to look up their email every time if you want to invite them to a new list, it has a simple drop-down for you to just choose a client that's already in Wanderlist to share that list with. So it's meant to be an easy button for you. And then if you don't, if they're not a client yet, you would type their email up here. So the bug that you just discovered, which Riley and I discovered yesterday too, is if you don't have a client already in the system and you click invite a client, it's not meant for you to type an email in at this point. Because look at the difference. Let me get out of this. I gotta go out of here for a second. All right, let me go back in. So we're clean. So if I were to type in JJ at.
Oh, you know what? When I type in invite others to join, I did get the email. But when I type in invite a client, so it's just the prompt is a little misleading.
Yeah, so what needs to happen here is you should not be able to type an email in this section, because that will not send an email. The only way it's going to send an email is if you type it in this one. So this is going to be fixed soon, hopefully, very quickly. I don't know, Riley, we don't want to make any promises, but this is only meant to be a drop-down menu to invite your client list as an ease of use. And it's unfortunate right now it allows you to type an email. It shouldn't. It's supposed to just be a drop-down. So type an email where it says type email.
Yeah,
so
I did that and it worked. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I have a quick question. So how would we, if we wanted to put together like a little test group of clients, maybe 10 clients, would we make the list ahead of time so that we could just have a drop-down menu? How do you do that? Or would you just go to invite others?
So when you say a test group, are you talking about real clients, or you want to make
like if I wanted to pick a few clients right now, and how do I form a list, or do you just add them to?
You're going to have to add them one at a time right now because they're new. They don't have an account yet. You're not tied to them
then
yet.
Would they automatically come up later in that second box?
Once they accept your invitation to this list and they create an account, now they're tied to you because you invited them or you used their link. So then, then they'll show up in here because these are all my demo people that I've shared with. I've done a lot of demos. So that's exactly right. That's a great question. Any other questions?
Okay, well, I'm anxious to get started. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have been a great group. Honestly, this has been fun. All right, so
Thank you.
Rose, who's going to stay on the line with us? And we're going to try to fix that technical issue.
Thanks,
Can I have ask you one more question?
Yeah.
If we run into issues when we're getting going on this, do we email you or help@virtuoso.com?
I would start at help@virtuoso.com because they'll figure out if it needs to be Riley, myself, Betsy, one of the development team.
Okay.
It's best to go through them because that'll be a faster chain for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Rosie, if everyone else wants to sign up, it was great to see you and meet you. And Rosie, we'll see if we can't walk you through.
Okay, well, I've been kind of playing around with it while you were talking. And I think I've got it. This time it just sent the one, I just changed the password and it sent the one code rather than keep sending the other one. I don't know what was going on with that. So I'm actually in it, like at the end of the session now.
Oh, good. Well, you can watch the recording and walk through it with me that way
too. To, I think, because I was so busy trying to get into it. So
also, go ahead.
So I'm assuming you can have a you can have it on your phone, and then do you have to set up another account on your computer, or you just sign in?
You just sign in. Yep, and you can use a separate browser. So if you want to have a couple sessions going, because You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer. Correct me if I'm wrong, Riley, with the tech. I don't think that's going to cause any technical issues unless you were in the same list at the same time on 2 different devices. It might.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Okay.
you should be fine. Just sign in on both devices. I do that all the time. There is a shortcut. Riley, is that out on? Is that still out on info pages? The shortcut to create the favorites on your phone?
I believe it is, yes. But if you can reach out and we can tell you how to do it.
Because if you're using your phone primarily, and a lot of the younger generation, they don't even use a computer. Since it's web-based, it's not a native app, so you don't go to the Apple Store and download an app. You can still create a shortcut to your phone so it acts like an app. It has a little icon that you just click on every time to open it. And there's a shortcut to set that up. It's really easy. So Riley, how about when we send the link, we just send the instructions to how to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I think that's helpful, really helpful.
I have another quick question. So I just started, I signed in and I moved on, and then I don't know what the last thing was I did, but it says name your Wanderlist. And then I'm just trying to go back and it won't let me go back.
Are you on, did you say you're on your phone?
Yeah.
All right, let me open up mine because I do demos all day on the computer, so.
Yeah, I'd much rather computer. It's easier for me.
Let me see if I can get through all of my, there we go, Wanderlist, there it is. Let me just open it up because I want to tell you the right thing because different devices have different ways of navigating.
Okay.
Oh gosh, remembering all these passwords, I tell you what.
I know.
Okay, let's see. I think I'm right. Nope. Let's try that again.
And I did hear somebody ask, can you just stay signed in all the time, or do you have to sign in and out each time?
No, you can stay, but when you sign in, there's a little checkbox, you know, click in your email and then your password, but don't click, you know, there's a little checkbox right below that you have to check on that says keep me signed in.
Okay.
So you click on that before you hit, you know, go or whatever the word is. All right,
Okay.
One more thing.
It's okay. Thank you for this.
Yeah, no problem. Riley, can you sign into yours? I can't, I must have changed my password again. I'm gonna try one more. I've got
Rosie, can you describe again what the error you're getting?
Well, I signed in and I just started moving forward. I don't even remember what the last thing was, but it's come up to name your Wanderlist, and I wanted to go back to see what I'd done. It won't let me, so it won't even let me go next without naming a Wanderlist. So I just kind of want to get back to the beginning, but it kind of.
But she's on her phone.
On her phone, yeah.
Because
so you may just have to name a Wanderlist, and you can always edit that name later on just to continue on the process. So I would just name a Wanderlist and keep going with it to get back to the home page.
But you can X out.
That's the thing. It won't let me. Oh, now it will down the bottom. Okay. After I just did a list, and so then it let me go backwards. Sharing with me. My home, sign out, support my Wanderlist. Okay, I guess I'd have to sign out and sign back in again.
So I'm sharing my. I think I'm sharing my screen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I went into my Wanderlist. I created a list. So I'm right here where it says name your list. Did you already name your list?
I just put list just so I had something.
And then did you hit the next button?
Yep.
Okay. So I think at this point you're fully committed. Is that right, Riley?
Yeah, I would just
need
keep
to.
going.
Yeah, because we don't have. It's coming in the very soon. I think whatever very soon means in the development world. But very soon, the ability to delete lists. You can't delete a list right now, unfortunately. So if I were to just go out right now without finishing this, you would probably get an error message because right now, now that I'm in, I need to complete. So I'm just going to put Ireland for now. But know that once, you know, that list is in there, you can't get rid of it right now, but I can edit it. So I can go in here where my list name is, hit that pencil and change it to what I want it to be. So I want it to actually say European Family Tour, and then change the name of that list. And then it's not a, you know, we're not actually going to be in Ireland. We're going to go to, so I click on the country, I'll go back. And then I'm going to type over that and choose a different country. So even though you created a list that was nonsensical and you can't delete it, you can go in there and change the title.
You can change it. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. That's good.
Yeah. So that's your workaround right now.
And you may have covered this while I was messing around with my phone, but is there a way just to go right into a country immediately and look at all the offerings?
You have to create a wander list in order to get to a destination.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because the only options are the create your, you know, go to your wander list, or you can click on, I'm back in that hamburger menu, you can click on experiences if you just want to look at experiences. Now, it doesn't exist now, but part of that advisor dashboard, and then also for the client experience dashboard, we will have the ability to sort once you're in here. It says just show me hotels, or just show me experiences in France, or just show me, you know, whatever, a way to sort and kind of make this a little more user friendly. It's not there right now, but that'll be coming. So I think what you're asking, I can't guarantee that you can sort by country, but I think that's the general idea, to be able to search and sort by groupings like that.
Yeah, I have a client who's going to Japan in 2022, and I was going to send her some suggestions. So I wanted to go right to Japan and start looking at all the offerings.
Yeah, you'll have to create a list.
Okay, and then hit Japan and then go from there. Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
that's easy enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah.
Speaking of Japan, we had another advisor who he works in they call it a travel home office. If you're familiar with the home office, where they, you know, they don't just do itineraries, or they're not just specialists in a destination. They say they're specialists in that person. So they offer lots of different services.
Oh,
and so, so they're not, so I love his story because he shares that he had a really good client. I always thought it was a dad because it was Jim who told me the story, but I talked to him yesterday. It was actually two sisters. So let's get the story straight. So he had two sisters that travel together all the time, and really good clients, and he knows them really well. He knows they're big into culture, like he knows all of their interests. So they called and said, we want to start planning a trip to Japan. Well, he's not a specialist in countries. And so I love his humility and honesty. And he's like, Laura, I didn't really know Japan. I hadn't actually ever sent a client to Japan. But what I loved is he's super quick on his feet. He's like, hey, we have this cool new tool. It's free. And I'm working with my clients in a new way. I send out this link that you create an account, and then I want you to start a Japan list together and start sharing ideas. And then let's meet a week later. It bought him some time to go do some research on Japan, right? And so to educate himself, he also used Wanderlist, he said, to find some cool ideas too. But what was neat is before they met, he could see their favorites library because he was on it, right? So he could see some of the ideas that they had going. And then because he knew them so well, he also did some of his own research to find some other things that would complement some of that. So then they met, they pounded out an itinerary together, and he said it was an incredible experience. And now going forward, he's only going to work with clients that way. Do a Wanderlist first, and then we talk. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do. Another question is, and I'll let you go because I know you're over here, but you had mentioned that there was a supplier cheat sheet, which was great. But what if they've got all these different experiences, for example, Japan, and one supplier does one, another supplier does another, but one supplier doesn't do everything, then you kind of have to piecemeal everything together. That would be a bit awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that's, we really try, and I feel like you really need to position this with a client appropriately. That this is not meant to be an itinerary builder. This is step one of the dream phase, right? So just because it's in our favorites library, it may not make sense. Geographically, if it's a China list, there's no way we're going to hit all of these ideas, because geographically, in the time frame and the budget that you're telling me, that's not going to be reasonable. But now that I know that you're into samurai sword fighting, whatever it was, and that's in a region we're not going to visit, I can reach out to my on tour who probably can figure something out for us or something similar, or, you know, so the idea again is just really presenting it to clients that this is a way for us, for you to dream, get some really good ideas for us to understand the interests of everybody in the group. And then based on that, that's our launch point to come up with a real itinerary that's within budget,
Okay.
make
Yep.
sense from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
I hear you, because I do feel like if it's not presented correctly, a client may go into this thinking, ooh, I can do all of this.
Mhm.
No, that's not true. From a
Yep.
budget standpoint, number one, probably not true, but definitely from a geographical standpoint, probably not true. So
Okay.
that's where your expertise, and I love this because it really highlights how important you are in their life, because your expertise of pulling this all together and figuring out what's reasonable, offering suggestions, bringing in alternative options really makes you shine.
Okay.
They need
Awesome.
you. They can't do this on their own.
Thank you so much for your extra time. Appreciate it.
You're
Just
welcome.
one question, one question, because I accidentally signed out by mistake. You mentioned you're going to send how we could get an icon on our iPhone. So that would be, how do we do it on our computer to get it in where it could be on the desktop? Is that?
Yeah, you can't, well, Riley, correct me if I'm wrong. You can bookmark it because it's a web, you know, it's a page that is a favorite page of yours.
Right.
So depending on what browser you're using, they all have different ways of saving it as a bookmark and caching it so that you can, I do that, like I save, depending on whether it's Google or Microsoft Explorer or whatever you're using. Some of them listed as a tab, but mine on, what am I in now right now? Google, am I in Google? Am I sharing the screen? Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yes.
Yes.
So I had to click the star, which then shows my favorite. So every web browser is different. Microsoft Explorer, I think, actually has the tabs. I don't know. But you just go in and you bookmark it. So once you're in Wanderlist, then you go and you add, how do I add favorites again? I always forget. I think it's here. It's this 3-dot thing, and you hit favorites. Since it's already a favorite, it's not gonna let me add it again, but and I can push pin it too, I think, to, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this. Riley probably could tell you better ways to do it.
Yeah, that's correct. I would suggest just bookmarking it, adding it to your favorites on your browser. That's probably the best and fastest way to save it to your desktop.
If you don't empty out your cache system, which is, you know, getting rid of all the cookies so it doesn't remember your sites that you've been to anymore. If you don't empty it out, if I just type in www, it's gonna pull up. Oh, and there, I'm back in it again. So that's another shortcut.
Thanks.
But it's probably a good idea to empty the cache every now and then. It'll help speed up your system. I'm terrible at doing that, but yeah.
And Joanne, we can schedule a call after too, and it could
Yeah,
do
we'll
a
have to
screen
talk
share and
about
help
that,
you.
Ellie. Yeah.
Sounds good. We can definitely do
Thank you
that.
so much.
Awesome. All
Great.
right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Have a
Bravo.
great day.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you,
You're very
Laura.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Got us inspired.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Yay. Share your
Bye.
stories. I want to hear your success stories.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again.
Bye.